Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my Loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Today is New Makeup Monday. We've got lots of goodies to go over. We've got some high-end, we've got some drugstore, and just about everything in between. Before we get started, a very special, very warm welcome to any of those that are new to my channel. I am so incredibly happy that you are here. If you enjoy the content, I do so hope that you will mash that thumbs up button. I hope that you will subscribe if you have not already, and I hope that you will ring my bell, turn on your notifications, so that way, next time I upload a video, you can come right back here and we can hang out together again. Also, my makeup is already done. I did make sure to film a TikTok on today's eye look if you are interested. It is super simple. I did use a couple of the products we're going to talk about just a little bit later. I will, of course, put everything I'm talking about in today's video in the description box below, along with the tags to all of my other socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Guys, if you are not following me on all my other socials, you definitely should go do that. I post fun content literally every single day, and if you're following me everywhere, you don't have to worry about missing a single moment of it. Also, if you have any questions about what's on my face, what I'm talking about, how I put it on my face, like what I'm using, baby, all you gotta do is leave me a comment, and I will get back to you. Alright, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the new goodness. So like I said, I've got a bunch of stuff to talk about. We do have quite a good mix of high-end and drugstore makeup to try out. Well, high-end, maybe not even high-end, but like mid-range and drugstore. All of it is actually really good for the most part. The first thing I want to talk about is something that is squarely located in the drugstore price point range. It's from L'Oreal. So this is not a new product by any means of the word, but it is so beautiful, and I have recently fallen in love with it like head over heels. This is the L'Oreal Paris Blush Please. It's like a luminous blush. I have this one in the shade Blushin in Saint Tropez. This is the blush that I am wearing today. And when I tell you this is just, it's insanely beautiful. It is insanely beautiful. It is the most gorgeous, kind of like sunshiny, peachy, luminous, just, oh, it is so pigmented, but it's pigmented but not like scary in any way, and it goes on, and there's the most beautiful amount of just kind of natural luminosity there. It's not shimmery, it's not glittery. Now there are some feeny little glittery particles in there, but it doesn't look glittery on the cheeks. It just goes on and it gives you such a gorgeous amount of like natural luminosity. It's the only way I can describe it. Just goes on and it just looks like skin, but better. It looks like you've been kissed by the sun god. It is so beautiful. And this shade in particular, Blushing in Saint Tropez, is absolutely stunning. But this shade in particular, I love a good peachy blush. I feel like it is so youthful and like natural, just especially for my skin tone, like a good peachy blush. Just, oh, it does things to me, and this is absolutely stunning. I love the formulation of this. It is, like I said, it's just super smooth and beautifully pigmented. It blends out completely effortlessly. It's actually pretty affordable as well, especially where L'Oreal products are concerned. It's $10, which is not a bad price point. You get a nice amount of product in here. I actually really enjoy the packaging as well. It looks a little bit elevated. The packaging itself is like a nice, thick, sturdy plastic packaging, which means it'll travel well. I've dropped this probably 1,000,001 different times, and it is still intact. It hasn't shattered yet, so that's nice as well. I think this is a really fantastic blush. Now, I know this might be just a little bit out of season, seeing as we're going into winter now, and we're usually looking forward to more of like the matte, velvetizing kind of blushes. But I feel like you should not forget about the glow come wintertime. Just because it's winter and the sun has decided to like take a nap for a little while doesn't mean that we need to like forget the glow. Glowing is always a wonderful thing, no matter what time of year. And I think this is a perfect blush for that. It gives you the glow without being too much. And this color, oh, this color is just absolutely everything. I love it very, very much. Now, while we're on the subject of like face and complexion products, I want to talk to you guys about a concealer really quickly. So this is the KVD Good Apple Serum Concealer. This thing is a little bit more high end. It goes for $30. $30 for a concealer is quite a considerable amount of money, especially when there are such really great ones at the drugstore. But you guys already know I picked this up from the BoxyCharm drop shop and I decided I would give it a whirl. Now, I tried the KVD Good Apple Balm Foundation and it was absolutely atrocious. Literally the worst foundation I have tried all year. It looked awful on my skin. Absolutely just the worst thing I've put on my skin in a very long time. But when I read the description of this product, of this concealer, it had a lot of good reviews. It's more of a serum type consistency, so people just had a lot of good things to say about it. Unfortunately, I don't like this concealer either. So first of all, the packaging, 10 out of 10. I adore KVD packaging. I adore the aesthetic, which is why I continue to try things from them, just because I really enjoy the whole vibe of the brand. So, and again, I heard so many good things about this concealer. I just thought maybe it would be worth giving a try. Now, I did pick this up. I think I paid like $12 for this, which I think is a very reasonable price for a concealer, especially one that comes in such pretty packaging, especially for a higher end concealer. So I wasn't mad about that price point. You do get a good amount of product in here. You get 0.33 fluid ounces, which is, I think, fairly standard. You open it up. The doe foot applicator on this is really nifty. I enjoy it. It's like a kind of like a triangular angled kind of applicator. It's actually very nice on the under eyes. It's what I'm wearing today, and I want to point out how awful my under eyes look today. This concealer is incredibly drying. It creases on me horribly. Like, I have set my under eyes probably, I want to say 2 or 3 times at this point. I keep going in with my powder puff and kind of pressing out the creases, and it seems like no matter how many times I set this concealer, it continues to bunch up in my under eye like lines. It's just not nice. It looks heavy, it looks cakey, it looks crepey on the under eyes. It's just not doing my under eyes any favors. Now, if you are super young and you don't have problem, like your under eyes are not a problem area, you might enjoy this because it's got really fantastic coverage. It blends out easily. When you first put it on, it looks really nice, but it just does not wear well. It ends up looking very drying and very heavy throughout the day, and of course it creases. So if you've got fine lines and, like, you know, dryness on your under eyes, I'm gonna go ahead and say definitely skip this one. It just seems like the KVD Good Apple line is just not made for, it is not dry skin friendly. Now, they did release that serum foundation that I am intrigued to try, but at this point we're 2-0 for the KVD Good Apple line, and I'm a little bit disheartened. I'm feeling like I should probably give up on the Good Apple line. I just wish they would come out with something hydrating for like us dried up dusty old mummies, because we want to experience KVD foundations and concealers as well. It's just this one is really awful. Now, I find that I can make this work if I mix it with something that's a little bit more hydrating. I have mixed this with the NYX Bare With Me Serum Concealer, and it is wonderful. The two of those mixed together goes on the under eye, and it looks really beautiful. You get the coverage from the KVD, but you get the hydration from the NYX, and the two together is a really beautiful pair. But not everybody wants to mix 2 concealers every time they sit down to do their makeup, and especially at a $30 price point, I don't feel like you should have to do that in the first place. So yeah, as much as I like the packaging and as much as I like the idea of this concealer, it's a no-go for me. This one was a we're kind of a loss. talking about some complexion products that I thought were absolutely freaking spectacular. So I came across a About Face bundle on the drop shop, and I was like, oh yeah, we're doing this. About Face, if you don't know what that brand is, it's actually Halsey's brand, and it is such a fun, creative, just like it's funky and fun and fresh and innovative, and it's one of those brands that I have wanted to sink my teeth into for a very, very long time. It's not even that they're like incredibly expensive, but they are a little bit more on the higher end of the spectrum, and I haven't seen them have a sale that was good enough for me to be able to go on and purchase and like pick up a couple of different things. I am hoping that this year for Black Friday, they do some kind of discount, some kind of sale, so I can place an order with them. Because before these items, I had never been able to play with any of her products before. But like I said, I came across a bundle on the drop shop, and it included 3 products, and 3 of the products that I was most excited to try. So first of which was this is the matte painted lip color. This is in the shade, I think this is in the shade Endurance. So this is just a really beautiful burgundy lip color. Y'all, it is so freaking beautiful. So it is a fairly small tube of matte liquid lipstick. It goes for $16, which again is, I don't think incredibly expensive, but a little bit more that I'm willing to pay. At full price, $16 I don't think is ridiculous, but it's just a little bit outside of my price range. Like I said, I'm just waiting for things to go on sale. But I was able to pick this up in a bundle. Of course, I didn't get to choose my colors, but I love this color so much anyway. First of all, the packaging is 10 out of 10. I love the packaging. It is so tiny and so sleek, but it also looks so fun and so innovative. It's unique. I have nothing else in my collection that looks anything like this, and I love that. I love when a product stands out in my collection. It makes me remember it, and like I remember the packaging, so I remember the product. It's wonderful. It is so, so pretty. You open it up and you get a standard doe foot applicator. This one is slightly angled. I actually really enjoy the size of this as well. It makes it really easy to go in and line your lips. It is very mess-free application. I think the size of the doe foot is so important, especially when you're working with a very pigmented matte liquid lipstick. They can get very, very messy very, very quickly, and this was just a breeze to apply. Like I said, it is pigmented. This is probably the prettiest deep, rich Merlot burgundy wine colored liquid lipstick in my collection. It is so pigmented and so beautiful. You literally get one swipe coverage. It is fantastic. It wears beautifully throughout the day as well. I remember I put this on one night before I went to bed. I was just in my office, just kind of playing around. I put it on, I went to bed, I didn't take it off, just kind of forgot about it. Woke up the next morning and my lips still looked pristine. They were still freaking stunning. My mind was just a little bit blown. These are beautiful. And they manage to be incredibly high coverage and like non-streaky and non-patchy and like beautifully matte and velvetizing on the lips without, they don't, what is the word I'm looking for? They don't exaggerate the lines on your lips. They don't make your lips look dry. They don't enhance texture. They're very, very comfortable as well, especially for it being so pigmented and such a rich formula. It is very, very lightweight and very, very comfortable. Like I said, I completely forgot that I had it on my lips. I really like these. If and when these puppies go on sale, I'm going to pick up, and they come in so many really beautiful colors. I am so, so excited to place an order. I am hoping and praying that she does a Black Friday sale, because y'all, I'm telling you, these, I don't think these would disappoint anybody. They are truly, truly beautiful. And then in that same vein, we have the matte fluid eye paints. Now, even more so than the matte liquid lipsticks, the eye paints are what really just kind of like tickle my pickle. I want to play with these so, so badly. eye paints are one of those things. You can use them for a cut crease. You can use them as a one and done eyeshadow. You can use these as eyeliner. They're so versatile, and there are so many different ways to apply them. They're kind of fantastic. Now, it does come in pretty much exactly the same packaging as the liquid lip color, except the bottle on the lip color is clear, whereas the eye paints are all one solid color. Now, it also goes for the same price. They're both $16 a piece. I have the matte fluid eye paint in the shade, what shade is this? Matte fluid eye paint in the shade Cloned, which is just a really beautiful kind of like deep brown. I think this is one of those colors that's going to look beautiful on absolutely everybody. It's like a really perfect kind of one and done eyeshadow shade. Now, the actual applicator is quite different than the liquid lipstick. Whereas the liquid lipstick was triangular and slanted, this one is just a straight up flat kind of doe foot applicator, which I don't mind at all. But it just, y'all, look at that pigmentation. Look at that pigmentation. It just goes on so effortlessly. It is so pigmented. It's not streaky. It's not patchy in any way. They dry completely and totally matte as well. They dry quickly, but they give you enough time to sit there and play with it and blend it out. So, like, you know how sometimes liquid eyeshadows, they just dry down way too quickly, and then by the time you get to blending them, like, it just doesn't move. This gives you plenty of time to play with it, move it around, blend it out, but then it just sits down and it absolutely does not budge until you decide to take it off. These are freaking fantastic. On top of that, the shade range in these is just, it is stellar. It is truly stellar. She's got all kinds of super fun, funky colors. She also has some shimmers that come in the same packaging that I really, really want to try out. I also noticed that she has like some loose pigments. Like, I think they're like the fractal loose glitters. I want to try those as well. All in all, I think Halsey's brand is probably, it is, I think, maybe number one on my list of brands to explore, especially in the coming year. Like, come heck or high water, I will be doing a review of her products because they all are so beautiful. And even just the two products that I've talked about so far, they are both such high quality, and they met and then exceeded my expectations. A lot of times when you kind of covet a brand and you lust after a brand for as long as I have lusted after About Face Beauty, it's kind of like don't meet your heroes. Like, it can sometimes be quite disappointing. And I've got to say, I haven't felt disappointed not one single time using any of these products. They really have lived up to the hype, and they really are as special and amazing as everybody says that they are. Now, last but not least, when it comes to the About Face products, I picked up one of the Light Lock highlight fluids. Y'all, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect with this product. You know, when it comes to liquid highlighter, I feel like there are about 1,000,001 really fantastic liquid highlighters on the market, and they they range in price point from like dirt cheap to like freaking stupidly expensive. You guys know that a lot of my very favorite highlighters come from Shop Miss A, and they're like all like $1.55. So I didn't know how to feel about this product. Now, this product goes for $18, which again, I don't think is stupidly expensive. I think that's actually a pretty affordable price point. It's just I'm poor and I'm a frugal Franny, and just am not going to pay that, so I will wait for it to go on sale. But y'all, when I opened this box and actually took the product out, I was like, oh yeah, it's worth $18. It's worth $18. So I got this in the shade Straight Beaming. So this is the very soft golden shade. I think there are 3 or 4 different tones that you can choose from. When I tell you this is the most beautiful highlighter I have ever beheld, this is freaking stunning. I adore this packaging. You have like this really beautiful mirrored kind of like almost cut glass kind of crystallized packaging. I've, again, nothing else like this packaging in my collection, so it's going to stand out, and because it stands out, I'm going to reach for it continuously. So yeah, This is beautiful. It is a liquid highlighter. It goes for $18 a piece. You have the About Face brand name kind of stamped right there on the front. It is just, I can't get over the color of it. It's this really beautiful, I don't know if it's, I think it's pink, but it's like this really beautiful like purple toned pink. Y'all, it's freaking beautiful. You open it up and there's a little pump, not a pump, but a little dropper. So the lid, and then you unsqueeze or unscrew the dropper, and there is your liquid highlighter. Y'all, when I tell you this highlighter is freaking absolutely everything. I have it all over my face today. This is beautiful. Now, when I did first receive this, I was a little bit worried that it was going to be too deep for my skin tone. But once you blend it out, can y'all see that? Can you see just how incredibly reflective it is? And the thing I like the most about this is how reflective it is without being glittery in any way. Now, I enjoy glitter. You guys know I will put glitter all over my face at any given minute and just be incredibly happy about it. But when it comes to my highlight, I'm not a big fan of a super glittery highlight. I just feel like it enhances texture. I feel like it doesn't really give me the effect that I'm going for. So I really like a nice, smooth, enhancing highlighter. But I like it to beam. I like it to glow. Like I want them to be able to see me from outer space. And I genuinely feel like that this highlight is going to get you there. Usually I stick to my powder highlights. I feel like there's really not a big difference between a liquid and a cream and a powder. I just feel like I prefer a powder highlight. It's easier to use. I can just whack it on when I'm just about done with my makeup, and I really don't have to think about it too awful much. But y'all, when I tell you this might just convert me into a liquid highlighter girly. This color is absolutely everything. It is so highly reflective, but also if you like a little bit more of a kind of subdued and gentle highlight, it blends out absolutely effortlessly. It shears out, and then it just gives you this really gorgeous, very almost natural kind of wash of like a sheeny color. It is beautiful. And then of course it is just the tiniest bit deep for my skin tone. But once you blend it out and shear it out enough, I really don't feel like I have a bunch of a cast on my face today at all. I think it ends up looking really, really beautiful on the cheeks, all over the skin, and it just is so, look at that. It is so highly reflective. I can't get over it. I can't get over it. I do think that there is a kind of softer, more pink toned one that I think would work much better for my skin tone. But of course, I didn't get to pick the shade in the highlight. However, this shade I can still use. I can just imagine mixing a couple of drops of this in with my body lotion and putting it, like just slathering it all over myself in the summer. I can only imagine how beautiful that would make your skin look. I really think this is such a versatile product. It is so pigmented and so reflective. I mean, it's just, you can do just about anything with it. This is beautiful. I think the packaging is 10 out of 10. I think the actual formulation is freaking fantastic. Absolutely stellar. I think this is a complete and total home run. So all in all, everything I've tried thus far from About Face Beauty has completely and totally knocked my socks off. I think it's all fantastic. I cannot wait for her to have, I am hoping and praying that she has a Black Friday sale, because y'all, I am saving my money. I am definitely planning on picking up at least one of absolutely everything. Next up, we have some eyeshadow products. Now, I am wearing this palette today. I got this in my BoxyCharm for this month. This is the Alamar Cosmetics. I think this is the Destino eyeshadow palette. Now, this is the first product I've ever had or gotten the chance to play with from Alamar Cosmetics, so I was incredibly excited to have received this in my BoxyCharm this month. It also is a pretty new release as well, so I was like, ooh, it was kind of like an insider look. I was very, very excited to play with this. I think the packaging on this is like almost like a 10 out of 10 Very, very cute. Very unique as well. Again, it stands out in my collection. You've got this little pull tab here. It's actually a locking mechanism for the lid of the palette. So you kind of like pull it back and the palette kind of pops open, and then you push it back this way and it locks, which I think is so super fun. It's going to be perfect for travel, things like that. So it is really nice, kind of heavy weighted cardboard packaging. It feels nice. It feels like a luxurious palette. Doesn't necessarily feel high end to me, but it does feel very, very nice, and it feels expensive. Definitely would never mistake this for a drugstore eyeshadow palette. I love the colors on the front as well, and the colors on the front definitely mirror the colors on the in the color story as well. I think they're really, really beautiful. Now, I used this palette today on my eyes, and I do have some thoughts. So the mattes, 10 out of 10. The mattes were probably some of the most effortless mattes that I've played with in a while. They literally blended themselves. They have a very, very thin, very lightweight texture to them that just goes on. It is just effortless to work with. They're beautifully pigmented. I will say that they're very, very sheer though. So if you like, I mean, the whole vibe I got from this eyeshadow palette is like sheer washes of color. I did try to really build up the pigment, and you can get a nice opaque laydown of pigmentation, but it really does take quite a bit of building to get there. So it's possible, but it does take quite a bit of effort. Now, when it came to the matte shades, like I said, they're really, really beautiful. However, they're not true to pan. So I have this pink shade. I also have this green shade in my transition area today, and I found that when I applied them to my eye, they darkened up considerably, especially this green one. It darkened a significant amount the minute I put it to my skin, and I wasn't super happy about that. So I don't know if you guys can see, but that color on my eye is definitely not the color that's in the pan. It darkened quite a bit. In this pink, I think it looks fairly similar, but I really, really had to build that up to get a good true to pan shade on my eye. Now, when it comes to the shimmers, I think the shimmers are really, really beautiful. They have a nice amount of pigmentation to them. I do think that you definitely need to use a glitter glue, or, you definitely need a glitter glue. A dampened brush definitely helps, but I find that there was a little bit of a longevity issue, especially with the shimmers in this palette. Now, I've had my makeup on, you guys know. I always come on here and I film after I've lived in my makeup for a good long while. It's pretty late in the evening at this point, and I've had my makeup done all day. So we're coming towards the end of my wear time. I had to, before I sat down and started filming, I had to reapply the shimmers to my lids because they had faded a significant amount throughout the day. And of course, I did use a glitter glue before I applied them the first time, and usually I don't have that problem. Like, I can go to bed wearing my eyeshadow and wake up the next day and it still be perfectly intact. So the fact that these faded so much throughout the day kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. Now, especially when you take into consideration the fact that this is a 10 pan eyeshadow palette and it costs $35, it is very, very expensive. For such an expensive eyeshadow palette, I feel like it should definitely perform like without a hitch. Like, this should outperform any and all of my drugstore options, and I just don't feel that it did. I feel like it's a really beautiful palette. I think that the packaging is absolutely stunning. I really enjoy the color story as well. It is colorful, but it's like very wearable, very effortless color. Like, it's kind of mindless. You have your kind of like transition shade, you have your liner shade, you have your deepening up the outer corner shade. I just feel like it's very, very easy to use. I really enjoy the colors of the shimmers in here. I think this gold is like absolutely stunning. I didn't get a chance to use that today, but I did use pretty much every single shade besides that gold. I used every single shade in this palette today, and I found that they were very, very consistent. All of the mattes performed beautifully, blended effortlessly, but they're very, very sheer. And then all of the shimmers acted the same way as well. They're beautiful, very, very high impact. They pick up beautifully with a brush, which I really appreciated. They applied to the eye easily and quickly. Just the longevity. The longevity seemed to be the biggest issue I had with this palette. So Yeah, it just depends on what your personal preferences are. Do I think it's a bad eyeshadow palette? Not in any way, shape, or form. Do I think it's the best one in my collection, though? No, not at all. I feel like there definitely is room for improvement when it comes to the shimmer formula in specific. I just feel like they need to add a little bit more body to it. It's really beautiful. It's got a great amount of like reflectiveness to it. It goes onto the lids and it gives you that reflect, but it doesn't really enhance texture, which I really appreciated. I have very textured eyelids. My eyelids are wrinkly and they're dried up, dusty, old, wrinkly mummies, and it's not cute. So overly metallic shimmers can often just enhance that, but these went on and they looked really beautiful. I do enjoy the tones in here. I enjoy the way that they perform. Just wasn't super happy about the longevity of them. The only thing I can think of is just really make sure that you're using a good quality glitter glue before you apply the shimmers to try to help extend the wear time of your shadows as long as possible. But I think it's a pretty palette. I don't think I would ever repurchase it, but if you are just completely and totally in love with this color story and don't plan on wearing your makeup for like 14 hours a day, I don't think that you'd have a problem with this palette at all. If you have trouble blending, I feel like this matte formula wouldn't give you trouble at all. Literally, it just went on and it blended itself. I can't get over. I really like the matte formula in here. I do wish it was just a little bit more pigmented, just a little bit. I wish it had just a little bit more body to it, so that really had more of a presence on the eyelid, because even built up it's still very sheer. Like I can still see my skin through the eyeshadow, and that's not my favorite. But if you prefer a little bit more of a gentle eyeshadow formula, I think you're going to really enjoy this. Very nice. And then speaking of other eyeshadow formulas, I want to talk about this bad boy right here. So I actually have 3 different shades of this. These are the Jeffree Star Cosmetics eye gloss powders. I picked these up. These actually have been in my collection for a good long while at this point, but I just realized that I have never talked about them, so I figured I would mention them in today's video. I have been using them quite a bit here recently. I do want to do a swatcheroo of some of these because they're so pretty. Basically what they are is duochromatic eyeshadow, like single eyeshadows. They have a good amount of moisture to them, but for the most part I think they're just like, I think they were supposed to be like almost like a cream shadow, but I think they're way too dry to be a cream shadow. I think they're very powdery. So I definitely think it's more of just like a single eyeshadow, but they're very duochromatic, they're very glittery, they're very high impact. So I definitely want to swatch them real quick and let you guys know what's up. So first up we have the shade Voodoo Glass, and I'm gonna see if I can get the switch to show up on my camera. This switches from, it switches in between like a really pretty soft pink to a gold to a green. It is very pretty, very sparkly. Now I did put a little bit of glitter glue down on my hand for these swatches because I find that they really don't stick very well to the skin without a glitter glue or something like that present. So you're definitely going to have to make sure you're using some kind of an adhesive, but they just look so pretty. Can you guys see that? They're very ethereal. I don't think they're a super strong kind of eyeshadow moment. Like I definitely don't think this is giving like main character energy at all, but I have been loving using these as a topper. They're just so glittery and so shifty. They're really pretty. So again, this is the shade Voodoo Glass. Next up we have the shade Mood Ring, and this one switches from a really beautiful like pale purple pink kind of color, and then it's got, I want to say there's reflex of like silver pearl in there. It is very pretty. Still very glittery. I think this one is definitely like even more ethereal than the first one. It's just that barely there kind of like little bit of a glossy shine, like a glossy glittery shine. They do give you that wet look on the eye without actually being wet and glossy, which I appreciate, because if you've got hooded eyes like I do, wet and glossy just is not going to work on my eye. I'm going to end up looking like a smeared, smudged mess at the end of the day. So these kind of give you that effect without all of the hassle, but I think both of those colors are super pretty. So we have Voodoo Glass, and then we have Mood Ring, and then last but not least, we have the shade Frozen Fire. So this is the shade Frozen Fire, and this one switches from a really gorgeous peach to pink to gold. It is so pretty. I think the shift is the strongest with this shade for sure. I also think it is the most pigmented. Again, all three of them are very soft. Now I did just do brush swatches just so that you know what they're going to look like if you use a brush to apply them to the eye. Of course, if you dip your finger in there, you're going to get a much heavier swatch, but like I just can't fit my finger in there, especially with my nails. It is a nice sized jar, but still, I just can't get my finger in there without risking absolutely gouging my product, and we're not going to do that. So we're just doing brush swatches, but I think all three of them are super pretty. These are kind of ridiculously expensive though. They're $22 a piece. Now the reason, and the only reason that I am mentioning them in today's video, is because, like I said, Black Friday is coming, babies, and Jeffree Star Cosmetics does a really fantastic Black Friday sale every single year. He does some truly fantastic sales, I think all the way up until Christmas and then even afterwards. A lot of times he will put quite a bit of his products, like he'll pick a selection and put them on sale on the website for $12 a piece. That $12 sale, he has it every single year, and every single year I make one Jeffree Star purchase every single year, and it's when he does that $12 sale, I wait for it. He'll send the newsletter out, he'll let you know it's coming. But that $12 sale, I jump on it every single year. And he actually is really good about putting new products in there as well as old ones. Like he puts like fan favorites in there. He isn't usually very stingy about that $12 sale, and at $12, especially for the quality of his packaging and the quality of most of his products, that's when I picked these up. I picked them up for $12 a piece. At $12, I think these are really nice if you enjoy a good sparkly kind of glossy topper shade. But he puts his like full-size palettes on sale for $12. He'll put entire lipstick vaults on sale for $12. If you have been curious about Jeffree Star Cosmetics, guys, I don't support him as a person. I think he's kind of an awful human being, but I really do enjoy his makeup. I think it's fantastic quality. I love his color stories. I love his packaging. So I look forward to that sale every single year. So if you have been wanting to kind of dip a toe into Jeffree Star Cosmetics, test out some of the products, I definitely think you should keep an eye out for his $12 sale. And I'm almost positive he's going to have some of these on the sale. So I just wanted to kind of highlight the three shades that I have. If this is kind of something that intrigues you or interests you, I definitely don't think that you would be disappointed, as long as you know what you're going into. Like, this is not going to be some super pigmented, fully opaque, like wham bam thank you ma'am kind of eyeshadow. It is a very soft, kind of ethereal, sparkly, glossy, wet looking eyeshadow topper, but it looks so pretty on the skin. They look beautiful packed over just about any color, but if you pack these over a black base, they're magnificent. They're really beautiful. Guys, that is it for today's video. I do so hope you found it at least a tiny bit entertaining, at least a teeny tiny little bit helpful as well. Guys, as always, I will put everything in the description box below. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you give this video a big old thumbs up before you go. I would really appreciate it. Leave me a comment. Let me know what product in today's video intrigued you the most. Which product is the one that you feel like you need to go out and purchase, or you need to go dip a finger in. I would love to know. Guys, as always, no filters, no fancy lighting. It is just me sitting in front of my camera, playing with some new makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. And until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.